Hi, welcome to Bedtime Stories with OPL. I'm Miss Beth. Grab your favorite stuffy, get comfy, and let's get ready for a story.
Hey there, Max. Are you ready to go to bed? No. That's what I thought. What if I read you a story? Bark! Let's see what I've got in here tonight. Ooh. You know what this one's called? Bark. The nose. Bark! Boop, boop, boop. Bark, bark. All right. This is The Nose by the Brothers Grimm. Did you ever hear the story of the three poor soldiers who, having fought hard in the wars, set out on their road home, begging their way as they went? I didn't think so. They had journeyed on a long way when one evening they reached a deep, gloomy wood. Oh no. Night came upon them, so they must sleep in the woods. Oh no. It was agreed that two should lie down and sleep, while a third sat up and kept watch. When he was tired, he was to wake one of the others to take over, and so on, so that they could share the work fairly among them. The two who were first to rest laid down and fell fast asleep, and the other made a good fire under the trees and sat down by it to keep watch. He had not sat long before suddenly up came a little man in a red jacket, who said, "Who's there?" "A friend," said the soldier. "What sort of friend?" said the little man. "An old broken soldier," said the other, with his two comrades. Oh, comrade is a fellow soldier or a friend. With his two comrades who have nothing left to live on, come, sit down and warm yourself. "Well, my worthy fellow," said the little man, "I'll do what I can for you. Take this and show it to your comrades in the morning." So he took out an old cloak and gave it to the soldier, telling him that whenever he put it over his shoulders, anything that he wished would be fulfilled. That sounds pretty awesome. Ah. Then the little man made a bow and walked away. The second soldier's turn to watch came, and the first lay down and went to sleep. The second man had not sat by himself long before up came the little man in the red jacket again. The soldier treated him in a friendly way, as his comrade had done, and the little man gave him a satchel. Bark, 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 bark. A satchel? Bark. A satchel is a small bag. Bark, bark, bark. Which he told him was always full of gold. Bark. No matter what he took out, it would always be full. That'd be pretty cool. Bark. What if instead of gold it was dog treats? Oh, there's nothing up here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let's see what happens next. Bark, bark. Okay. All right. Let's see. Then the third soldier's turn to watch came, and he also met the little man, who gave him a wonderful horn that drew crowds around it whenever it was played, and made everyone come and dance to its beautiful music. Can you pretend like you're tooting on a horn? Awesome. You're so good at that. In the morning, each told his story and showed his treasure, and as they were old friends, they agreed to travel together to see the world. They spent their time very joyously till at last they began to be tired of traveling and thought they should like to have a home of their own. The first soldier put his cloak on and wished for a fine castle. In a moment it stood before their eyes. Fine gardens and green lawns spread across it, and flocks of sheep and goats and herds of oxen were grazing about, and out of the gate came a fine coach with 3 dapple gray horses to meet them and bring them home. All this was very well for a time, but it would not do to stay at home always, so they got together all their rich clothes and servants, and ordered their coach with 3 horses, and set out on a journey to see a neighboring king. Now this king only had a daughter, and as he took the 3 soldiers for princes, He gave them a kind welcome. One day, as the second soldier was walking with the princess, she saw him with the satchel in his hand. When she asked him what it was, he was foolish enough to tell her, even though she was a witch. Oh, it's okay. She's not here. Or, yeah, she's not here, I promise. But she knew all about the things that he and his friends had brought. Now she was very clever, so she set to work and made a satchel just like the soldiers, and then asked him to come and see her. She held a feast so large and so full of wonderful food that he ate too much and fell fast asleep. Does that happen when you eat a lot of food?
Bark, bark.
Yeah, me too. Then she felt in his pocket and took away his satchel and left the one she had made in its place. She played a trick on him, didn't she? The next morning, the soldiers set out home, and soon after they reached their castle, happening to want some money, they went to their satchel for it and found to their great sorrow that it was empty. The second soldier remembered how he had told the story to the princess, and he knew that she had betrayed him. "What should we do?" he cried. "Do not worry," said the first soldier. "I will soon get the satchel back." He threw his cloak across his shoulders and wished himself in the princess's chamber. There he found her sitting alone, counting the gold that fell all around her in a shower from the satchel. When she saw him, she stood up and cried out, "Thieves! Thieves!" so that the guards came running in and tried to grab him. The poor soldier now began to be very afraid, and though it was high time to leave, without thinking of traveling by his cloak, he ran to the window, opened it, and jumped out. His cloak caught in the bushes and was left. Wow. So now the princess has the cloak and the satchel. The poor soldier made his way home to his comrades on foot. He sadly told them what happened. The third soldier told him to cheer up and took his horn and blew a merry tune. At the first blast, a countless troop of men and horses came rushing to their aid, and they set out to make war against their enemy. When the king's palace was surrounded, and he was told that he must give up the satchel and cloak, he went to his daughter's chamber and talked with her. She thought of a clever scheme and dressed herself as a poor girl with a basket on her arm, and set out by night with her maid and went into the enemy's camp to sell trinkets. In the morning she began to wander about, singing so beautifully that all the tents were emptied, and the soldiers ran in crowds and thought of nothing but hearing her sing. Among the rest came the soldier to whom the horn belonged. Her maid slipped quietly through the crowd and went into his tent where the horn hung and stole it. Oh, bark. The princess and her maid returned safely to the palace. The army went away, and the 3 wonderful gifts were left in the hands of the princess. The 3 soldiers were as penniless and forlorn. Bark, 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 bark. Forlorn? Bark. That means sad and lonely. Bark. No. Bark, bark. Not so sad. Poor fellows. They began to wonder what they could do now. "Comrades," at last said the second soldier who had had the satchel, "we cannot afford to live together. Let each seek his bread as best he can." He turned to the right and the other 2 to the left. Then on he went until he came to the wood where he had met with such good luck before. He walked for a long time, till evening began to fall, when he sat down beneath a tree and fell asleep. In the morning, when he awoke, he was delighted to see that the tree was full of beautiful apples. He was hungry enough, so he soon plucked and ate one, then another, then another. A strange feeling came over his nose. When he put the apple to his mouth, something was in the way. He felt it and found that it was his nose, which had grown. Bark! Yep. It did not stop growing. It grew and grew. Soon it reached the ground and kept on growing till it seemed as though it would never end, for it already stretched through the whole wood. "Why, how are you, my friend?" said he, laughing. "Well, I must find a cure for you, I see." He told them to gather a pear from a tree that grew close by, and the nose would come all right again. No time was lost, and the nose was soon brought back to its proper size, to the poor soldier's great joy.
Bark.
That's good. "I will do still more for you," said the little man. "Take some of those pears and apples with you. Whoever eats of one of the apples will have his nose grow just as yours did. But if you give him a pear, it will become natural again. Go to the princess and get her to eat some of your apples. Her nose will grow 20 times as long as yours did, and you will get your things back."
Bark, bark, bark.
Are they going to play a trick on her?
Bark.
Oh my goodness. They thanked their old friend heartily for all his kindness, and it was agreed that the poor soldier who had already tried the apple should be the one to go. He dressed himself as a gardener and went to the king's palace and said that he had some remarkable apples to sell. Everyone that saw them was delighted and wanted to taste them, but he said that they were for the princess only, and soon she sent her maid to buy his stock. They were so fine that she had already eaten 3 when she too began to wonder what ailed her nose, for it grew and grew down to the ground, out of the window, over the garden, and nobody knows where. Is that funny?
Bark, bark.
Well, her father issued a proclamation that whoever would heal his daughter should be richly rewarded. Many tried, but nothing worked. And now the old soldier dressed himself up as a doctor and said he could cure her. He chopped up some of the apple, and to punish her a little more, gave her a dose, saying he would call tomorrow and see her again. The next day came, and of course the nose had been growing fast all night. The doctor chopped up a very little of the pear and gave her, and said he was sure that would do her good, and that he would call again the next day. Next day came, and although the nose was a little smaller, it was still bigger than when the doctor first attended her. Then he thought to himself, "I must frighten this cunning princess a little more before I should get what I want of her." So he gave her a little more of the chopped apple, and said he would call again on the morrow. The next day the nose was much bigger than before, and the doctor said, "Something is working against my medicine and is too strong for it. But I know what it is. You have stolen goods about you,
Bark, bark.
and if you do not return them, there is no hope for you." But the princess denied this. So the doctor said, "Very well, please yourself, but I'm sure I'm right, and if you do not do as I say, you will die."
Bark.
He really scared her, didn't he?
Bark, bark.
Then he went to the king and told him how it was. "Daughter," said the king, "send back the cloak, the satchel, and the horn that you stole." She ordered her maid to fetch all 3 and gave them to the doctor, and begged him to give them back to the soldiers. As soon as he had them safe, he gave her a whole pear to eat, and the nose returned to its proper shape. Then the doctor put on the cloak, wished the king and his court a good day, and was soon with his 2 friends, who lived from that time happily at home at their own palace, except when they went out in their coach with the 3 dapple gray horses.
Bark, bark, bark.
The end.
Bark.
That was a lot of tricks, wasn't it?
Bark.
Oh my goodness. Are you ready to go sleep now?
Bark.
No. What if I read you a story next time?
Bark, bark.
Alright. You want me to snuggle you up?
Bark.
Snuggle, 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 snuggle. Good night, Max.
I hope you enjoyed our story tonight. We have these great stories and lots more like them at the library. Come find out where your imagination can take you. I'll see you next time. Sweet dreams!